In an alternate timeline, the United States and Russia are still stuck in a cold and ugly rivalry. Tension is high, and at any moment things could explode. However, a full war would destroy both sides, so neither country can afford that risk. Because of that, they return to an old weapon, which is spying. Even so, the classic spy with fake passports and secret gadgets is now outdated and gets caught too easily. Therefore, Russia decides to change the game in a bold way. They create a secret program of highly trained female operatives who are taught how to use charm and psychology as weapons. These women are trained to find powerful targets, then slowly earn their trust, and eventually get close enough to pull secrets out of them without force. Meanwhile, the story shifts to Dominika Egorova, who is a famous Russian ballet dancer. She's been dancing since her teenage years, and at the same time, she has been taking care of her sick mother. Her life is strict and disciplined, yet dance is the only thing that gives her pride. One day, she leaves her mother with a caretaker and heads to a grand performance where many powerful people are present. Among them is her uncle Ivan, who works as a senior officer in Russian intelligence. During the event, a gangster named Dmitry approaches Dominika and asks for a photo. At first, it seems harmless, however, he tries to touch her in a wrong way. She feels uncomfortable, yet she controls the situation and walks away with dignity. Soon after that, the performance begins, and Dominika steps onto the stage with full focus. She dances beautifully, and the audience is completely lost in her movements. However, in a shocking moment, her partner lands badly from a jump and crashes into her leg. The impact is brutal, and her leg breaks badly. As a result, she is rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. When she wakes up, she sees her leg locked inside a heavy metal frame, and slowly she realizes she may never dance again. That truth crushes her spirit. Months pass, and she can only walk with a cane while her dreams quietly fade. At the same time, we meet Nate Nash, who is a CIA agent working in Moscow. One day, he plans to meet his Russian asset in a park. Suddenly, the police arrive, which means the meeting has been exposed. Thinking fast, Nate fires shots into the ground to create panic. Because of that distraction, his asset escapes safely. Even so, Nate is arrested and later sent back to the United States, even though his superiors confirm the asset is safe. Back in Russia, Ivan shows his director footage of the park incident and explains that the real interest is not Nate, but the unknown man who escaped. Meanwhile, Ivan visits Dominika and delivers another blow. The theater has replaced her, and her benefits are gone. Still, he offers help if she is willing to work for him. Before leaving, he gives her an envelope. Inside, she finds proof that her dance partner caused her accident on purpose, so his girlfriend could take her place. Rage fills her heart. Therefore, she goes to the theater and attacks both of them in the steam room with her cane. Later, she reports it as an accident and walks away from her old life. With no career left, she turns to Ivan for support. He agrees, but with one condition. She must approach Dmitry again and gain his trust. At first, she hesitates, yet because her mother needs medical care, she finally accepts. And that choice quietly pulls her into a dangerous new world. Dominika has no other choice because her expenses are too high. That night, she goes to Dmitry's hotel. She dresses beautifully and sits in the bar so he will notice her. Just as she expected, Dmitry comes to her and asks how he can help. Dominika tells him she wants to feel special again. Then they move to a private room while his guards stay outside. Dmitry asks her to undress and
Slowly.
suddenly becomes aggressive. At that moment, a man wearing a black helmet bursts into the room and kills Dmitry instantly. He throws a coat over Dominika to cover her and quickly takes her out through the back door. Soon she learns that the man is Constant, an SVR agent sent by her uncle Ivan. A little later, Ivan meets Dominika and gives her a clear but terrifying choice. She can either work as an SVR operative or face death for witnessing Dmitry's murder. Realizing she has no option, she agrees to work for them. After that, Dominika is sent to State School 4, known for harsh training. This is where sparrows are trained, operatives who use charm and physical appeal to trap targets. At the school, she is welcomed by Matrine, the headmistress of the Sparrow program. Matrin gives her a new identity and starts the training the next day. She lectures the students about the disorder in the world and emphasizes that only Russia is willing to sacrifice to fix it. Then she makes a chilling announcement. The students' bodies now belong to the state, and they must complete every task without question. Meanwhile, Nate's story continues. He sits in front of a CIA panel that is deciding to suspend him for the mistake in Russia. He argues that he has worked with Marble for years and no one else can be trusted. After long discussion, they allow him one last chance. Nate is sent to Budapest to contact Marble again, but he does not know that the SVR is watching his every move. Back at State School 4, Matrin teaches the students how to identify a target's deepest desire. She shows images on a screen and asks the students to guess what each person wants. Victor, an arrogant student, answers wrong, and Dominika corrects him in front of the whole class, making him look foolish. Later, a female student is tested, but she cannot force herself to do what is required. The next day, students are asked to welcome a troop of returning soldiers. Dominika chooses a young soldier and leads him to a private room where she uses her skills to satisfy him while Matron and other students observe. This shows that Dominika is slowly transforming from a dancer into a Sparrow operative. After class, Matron comments that her technique is good, but she still hasn't fully surrendered herself to the program. Later, while Dominika is showering, Victor tries to attack her. She bravely defends herself using a water tap and escapes. The incident causes chaos at the school, and even General Vladimir comes to investigate. He asks Dominika why she acted, and she confidently replies that she serves the state, not her fellow students. In the next class, Matron calls Dominika in front of everyone and shows Victor's photo. She asks Dominika to discover what he really wants. Victor is brought into the room and Dominika undresses slightly in a controlled way, inviting him, but Victor, still scared from the earlier incident, leaves without touching her.
Give him what he wants.
I said, look at me. Well, what are you waiting for? I'm ready.
Bitch.
Dominika explains that his real desire is power. Vladimir is impressed and immediately assigns her a mission in Budapest. Her task is to gain Nate's trust and uncover Marble's identity. Dominika accepts and travels to Budapest, staying with her fellow Sparrow, Marta, as she prepares to begin her mission. Dominika starts watching Nate very carefully under the supervision of Station Chief Maxim Vontov. She notices where he goes and begins going to the same swimming pool he uses. One day, she deliberately bumps into him and starts a small conversation, pretending to be an embassy translator. The next day, when she returns to the pool, Nate is not there, and she discovers her ID is missing. In fact, Nate has already realized that Dominika is a Russian spy sent to uncover Marble's identity. He reports this to his superiors, but also mentions that she could be very useful in the future. Because of that, they allow him to get closer to her to learn more. Later, Dominika goes to the embassy where she sees Marta talking to an American politician named Stephanie. This is where the story grows more complicated with suspicion, double games, and manipulation. Soon after, Nate himself comes to Dominika and admits that she took his ID at the swimming pool. Dominika understands that Nate knows everything about her mission, and so she tells him honestly what she is doing. They talk for a while and agree to meet for dinner the next day. After returning to her apartment, Dominika secretly searches Marta's room and finds out that Marta has been tasked with buying confidential information from Stephanie. The next day after work, Dominika follows Maxim, the SVR station chief, to try to get more time for her mission. She provokes him deliberately until he loses his temper and strikes her. But since everything is being recorded, she uses the footage to blackmail him. She tells him that either he sends a better report to Moscow, or she will hand the footage to the police. Meanwhile, Nate waits at a restaurant for Dominika, but she arrives late and he assumes she has ditched him. He does not know that Dominika is secretly following him to his house. She rings his doorbell and he lets her in quietly. Nate is nervous and asks how she found his address. Dominika raises the TV volume and asks about the Gorky Park incident, learning what he knows. After the conversation, she tries to kiss him, but he stops her and tells her to go home. The next day, Ivan suddenly arrives to check Dominika's progress with Nate. To buy time, she lies and says she is also working with Marta on the Stephanie case and needs extra funding. Ivan leaves after thinking for a while, and as he goes, Dominika secretly checks his passport for intel. That evening, when she returns home, she finds Marta's dead body in the bathtub. Before she can react, SVR agent Konstantin appears and grabs her, warning that anyone who shares secrets meets this fate. Meanwhile, Nate reports Marble's new message to his superiors, confirming that Dominika is a Sparrow operative. They see her as a threat, but Nate still believes she can be recruited. The next evening, he drives Dominika to her apartment and admits that he knows her real identity. From this moment, trust, suspicion, and double games become even more dangerous between them. Dominika tells Nate her full story and explains that her only priority is her mother's safety. Nate offers her a deal. If she agrees to become a double agent for him, he will protect her completely. Dominika hesitates for a moment but asks if she can really trust him. Nate reassures her completely, and at that moment, they become close. The next morning, Dominika meets Nate's superior to check her loyalty with a light detector test. After passing, she asks for funds and claims she can buy information from Stephanie Bush. On Friday, Dominika travels to London with Maxim for a meeting with Stephanie. She stays in a specially prepared CIA hotel room with hidden cameras and fake discs under the desk to swap if needed. When Stephanie arrives, Dominika tells her she comes from Marta. Stephanie hands over the discs for money and Dominika pretends to authenticate them, but secretly swaps them with fake ones. After the deal is complete, Stephanie suddenly realizes she is being watched by American intelligence and panics, throwing the money away. Dominika tries to cross the street, but a truck hits her and she dies instantly. The Russian agents watching everything think their mission is compromised and suspect that maybe Dominika and Maxim tipped off the Americans. Because of this, they are both ordered to return to Moscow immediately. Once in Moscow, Ivan takes the discs and arrests both Dominika and Nate. They keep insisting they are innocent, but still, they endure days of brutal torture. Maxim is almost killed, and Dominika, despite all the pain, refuses to cooperate with the Americans in any way. Slowly, Ivan begins to believe her, and finally, he releases her and sends her back to Budapest to continue her original mission, which is uncovering Marble's identity. When Dominika meets Nate again in Budapest, they spend a romantic evening at his house. Suddenly in the night, she wakes up to see Constantine torturing Nate to get Marble's identity. Dominika pretends to be helping him at first, but as soon as she finds an opening, she attacks Constantine. Nate frees himself, and together they fight Constantine and finally overpower him, though both are badly injured. Dominika wakes up in the hospital, and an unexpected visitor, General Vladimir, arrives. He reveals something shocking. He is actually Marble. He explains that he once trusted the system, but lost faith after corruption prevented his sick wife from getting treatment, and now he fears being captured and losing everything. He asks Dominika to expose him to Ivan, which would make her a national hero and let Marble's position be taken over by Vladimir. At first, Dominika thinks this is crazy, but after much thought, she decides to surrender herself to the authorities. She asks to meet the Russian ambassador and promises to give Marble's name only if she gets her freedom. An exchange is arranged at the airport, and Nate goes with her to confirm Marble's identity. Nate feels betrayed, thinking Dominika used him, but she has a surprise. When the Russians bring the prisoner, everyone is shocked. It is Ivan. It turns out Dominika had been preparing fake evidence against her uncle since Budapest and even blamed him for the London field exchange. Nate immediately confirms Ivan is Marble. During the exchange, a Russian sniper shoots Ivan, and shortly after, Dominika is airlifted to safety. In the final scene, Dominika is honored in a Russian military ceremony, with General Vladimir present. She now lives safely with her mother, free and at peace, living the life she always dreamed of. Her journey proves that in this world, the most dangerous weapon is not a gun, but the mind.